Okay, there's one last thing to consider when we go to graph a rational function, and that's whether the function is positive or negative at different points along the way, just so we kind of know where to put the curves. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the ways that a graph can switch from being positive to negative. So if you think about having a graph here, x and a y. So it's positive when it's above the x-axis and negative below the x-axis. So one of the ways that that can happen is if the function were to have an x-intercept. So it were to be right here. So before the x-intercept, the graph is positive. It crosses through the x-intercept, and now the graph is negative. Another option would be if there were a vertical asymptote. So the graph, say, has a vertical asymptote over here. Before the vertical asymptote, the graph is negative. And then after the vertical asymptote, the graph is positive. If neither of those things occur, if there's not an x-intercept or a vertical asymptote, the graph is just going to continue to be either positive or negative. So we only have to check right around those points. Before we do that, let's just make sure we have all of the possibilities together in our minds about what would happen if it were to change. So let's say we have an x-intercept here at positive 4. We've already looked at the case where it goes from positive to negative. Here would be a potential case, not the only case, where it goes from negative to positive. Another option is that the function could stay positive, so it could have an x-intercept, but then not change signs. Similarly, the same thing could happen in the negatives. All of those cases are also possible when you look at an vertical asymptote. So you could have a vertical asymptote here. The graph could stay positive on both sides of that asymptote. It could also be positive and then negative, or negative on both sides of the asymptote. So just because there is an asymptote or an x-intercept doesn't mean we know for sure it will change signs. We just know it won't change signs if there's not a vertical asymptote or an x-intercept.